With Season 2 of Wednesday on the horizon, it's time to break down every single theory we've put together here on the channel over the past few months. From hidden clues in the trailers to blink and you miss it details most fans completely overlooked, we've been piecing together a full-on puzzle of what might be coming next. But let's be clear, this isn't just random speculation. These are carefully crafted theories backed by visual evidence, narrative patterns, and technical details that Netflix may have intentionally left behind. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Most of the people watching still aren't subscribed, and you're not going to want to miss a single update as we head into this new season of Wednesday. Let's kick things off with a theory that could flip everything upside down in Season 2. Laurel Gates never actually died. In the final episode of Season 1, it seemed like the game was over. Tyler was exposed as the Hyde. Laurel Gates was unmasked. She went head-to-head with Wednesday in the final showdown. And then she vanished, literally. Here's the thing, the show never confirms her death. There's no body, no aftermath, no investigation. No one, and I mean no one, even talks about what happened to her after that scene. And that silence, it's way louder than it seems. Think about it. Every character who dies in Wednesday gets some kind of closure. The mayor dies, we get a funeral scene. The therapist is killed, the Hyde attacks her, parts of her are used by Laurel, the police investigate, and it's all addressed. But Laurel, nothing. No scene. No comment, no follow-up. And this wasn't some background character. Laurel Gates was the mastermind behind the biggest villain plot in the whole season. And now, radio silence, that's not just suspicious, it feels intentional. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. If you check IMDb, Christina Ricci is listed in Season 2, but for only one episode. Just one. Now sure, maybe it's a flashback, or maybe it's just a photo and they credited her for it, but I doubt it. If it were just an archive shot, the credit would say archive footage, but it doesn't. She's listed as cast. That suggests she filmed something new, something fresh, something important. So here's the theory. The show wanted us to wonder if Laurel really died. They keep her completely out of sight for all of Season 2. And then she shows up right at the end as the setup for a much bigger twist in Season 3. Okay, so if Laurel Gates is still alive, how would she make her way back into the story? That's where our second theory comes in, and it centers on a new character, Evie Templeton, who plays Agnes Deil. A newly released promo image from Netflix shows a group of what looks like new students at Nevermore fangirling hard over Wednesday, but among them is someone intriguing. Agnes, Evie Templeton, has been officially part of the Season 2 cast since the beginning of filming, but only recently has she started showing up more in the latest trailers and even on the purple carpet at the London premiere. Now, in one of those earlier trailers, there's a blink and you'll miss it shot of a masked figure. It's brief, it's shadowy, but there's just enough to start asking questions. The silhouette is short, lean, and doesn't fit the typical tall, brooding slasher villain trope. And this is where things get interesting. What if that masked figure is Agnes? Despite being part of the confirmed cast, Agnes never shows up clearly in any trailer scenes. That's already suspicious. But when you compare the build and stature of Evie Templeton to the masked figure, it's a close match. Now, remember, the series loves hiding villains in plain sight. Laurel Gates literally pretended to be a harmless botany teacher. So this mysterious absence of info about Agnes, it doesn't feel accidental, it feels deliberate. This theory leans heavily on the way Wednesday constructs its mysteries. Season 1 used the classic misdirection tactic, give you a character who seems minor or even friendly, then flip everything on its head. We could be seeing the same trick play out again with Agnes. And this kind of hidden villain narrative has deep roots in psychological horror. Think of Alice Sweet Alice, 1976, where an innocent-looking girl becomes the prime suspect in a string of violent attacks, always seen behind a cold, rigid mask. Here's the real kicker. What if Agnes isn't just a student, but an undercover agent? Someone placed inside Nevermore by a secret lineage tied to Joseph Crackstone, sent to sabotage the school. From the inside, continuing the crusade against outcasts. And one last thing, her hair color matches Laurel's disguise as Marilyn Thornhill. Coincidence? Maybe. But in this show, probably not. But wait, we're not done yet. There's another major return that could shake things up in Season 2. Principal Lissa Williams. Yeah, we all think she died in the Season 1 finale, but did she really? Or was that just what we were meant to believe? From the very first episode, Lissa Williams wasn't just the head of Nevermore. She was the one holding the entire place together, a symbol of order, power, and protection. A former classmate of Morticia Adams, she always gave off the vibe that there was more to her than she let on, layers we never fully explored, which is why her sudden exit at the end of season 1 felt off. It wasn't totally empty, but for a character so central, so commanding, her death came weirdly, abruptly. Yes, we saw her die after finally joining forces with Wednesday in a last-ditch effort to expose the true threat behind the murders at Nevermore. Once Wednesday figures out that Marilyn Thornhill is really Laurel Gates, Laurel injects Weems with deadly nightshade. And after that, nothing. No funeral, no school-wide reaction, no closure. And during the rest of the season, no one steps up to replace her, at least not right away. Sure, in the latest season 2 teasers, we meet her replacement, Professor Barry Dort, but back in season 1, total silence. Now here's where things get really interesting. Weems is a shapeshifter. That's canon. We literally saw her transform into Tyler, so who's to say she didn't fake her death? And then there's the small but wild detail that a lot of fans missed. In the final scene of season 1, Wednesday is picked up by Lurch, but something feels different about him. In the very first episode, Lurch has heterochromia, 2 different colored eyes, but in that final scene, both eyes are the same. Plus, his facial expression has shifted. Early on, Lurch is stiff, distant, kind of robotic, but at the end, he looks more focused, alert, almost aware. Which leads us to one of the most intriguing theories out there. That's not Lurch at all, it's Weems in disguise, using her shape-shifting powers to watch over Wednesday without being noticed. Some fans chalk it up to a continuity error. But come on, this is Wednesday, a show where nothing is random and every detail is deliberate. A visual change like that, that's not just a slip-up, that's a breadcrumb. The sudden death of Larissa Weems at the end of season 1 didn't just leave an emotional gap, it left Nevermore wide open. And now, in the teasers for season 2, we're introduced to the man stepping into her shoes, Professor Barry Dort, played by none other than Steve Buscemi. And based on what we've seen so far, one thing is very clear. He's not here to carry on Weems' legacy. He's here to erase it. In the early promos, Dort openly criticizes Weems' leadership, especially her push to create unity between the outcasts and the normies. He straight up says he plans to correct the mistakes of the past. That's not subtle, that's a direct shot at everything Weems stood for. But here's where things start to spiral into true Wednesday territory. What if Barry Dort isn't who he says he is? What if all of this, including Weems' supposed death, was part of a long game? A calculated move to clear the board so someone else could step in and take control, or stay with me here. What if Barry Dort is Weems? Think about it. Weems is a shapeshifter. She faked other appearances before. What if she's not dead at all? What if she's reinvented herself as a completely new authority figure at Nevermore? It's a wild theory, sure, but in a world where anyone could be anyone, is it really that far-fetched? Or maybe Dort isn't the mastermind. Maybe he's just the puppet, the one setting the stage for something darker. By dismantling Weems' legacy, by dividing the outcasts from the normies, he could be breaking down the final line of defense, paving the way for a new villain to rise from the shadows. Someone or something waiting to fill that power vacuum. But the biggest threat this season might be way closer to home than anyone expected. And that brings us to Pugsley. That's right, Pugsley Adams is officially joining Nevermore as a student, and according to Isaac Ordonez, the actor behind the character, Pugsley will be developing electrical powers this season, powers that, according to him, are directly connected to the new villain. So, what does that mean? Well, for starters, it raises a major question. Is Pugsley being manipulated, or could he unknowingly be the key to something much bigger, maybe even weaponized as part of the villain's plan? The timing is definitely suspicious. His powers begin to manifest exactly as Nevermore hits its most chaotic, vulnerable point, and that could force Wednesday into a brutal dilemma. Protect her brother or stop him. It's possible Pugsley has no idea what's happening. He could be controlled, influenced, or even possessed by forces tied to the season's central threat, which means Wednesday might have to face her worst nightmare, her own brother becoming the enemy. Now, here's where things really start to connect. We already know that Barry Dort, the new principal, has some shady vibes. He might be the villain himself, or at the very least working with someone like Agnes Deil. And if Agnes really is a secret agent of the Pilgrim bloodline, like some fans theorize, she could be using Pugsley as a trigger. His electrical powers might not be random, they might be the key to awakening something ancient, something left behind by the Pilgrims, something dangerous. That brings us to what could be the emotional core of Season 2. Wednesday being forced to choose between saving Nevermore and saving her brother. If Pugsley is being used, twisted into a threat, she'll have to find a way to break the manipulation and bring him back before it's too late. Now, let's talk about the stuff most people completely missed in the trailers. One of the standout shots shows Wednesday walking through a clock tower, axe in hand. That kind of setting, tight, elevated, and atmospheric, is a classic Tim Burton move. He's used similar environments for final confrontations before, like in Batman, 1989. And in this scene, Wednesday isn't just defending herself, she looks like she's hunting someone. The whole vibe screams climactic showdown, even if it's not the final battle of the season. And the axe? Total slasher energy. It's a weapon that means business. Now, in that same space, we get a glimpse of Uncle Fester, literally shooting lightning from his hands. And in another still from that scene, we see Agnes Deil, hair blown out like she just took a major shock. Coincidence? Or are all these pieces part of the same explosive moment? But it's not just the flashy scenes that hold meaning. Some details are subtle, but seriously loaded. Take that quick shot of Enid behind bars. Yeah, it's fast, but super telling. This could mean a few things. Maybe Enid's being kept somewhere for her own safety. Maybe she's being protected from an outside threat. Or, plot twist, maybe she is the threat. She might be under someone's influence or manipulated, acting out of character, but clearly something is off. And then there's the visit to Marilyn Thornhill's old room. In one shot, the Addams family is seen walking through it, but if you pause at the right moment, there's a frame sitting quietly on the desk with a photo of Laurel Gates. No one comments on it, but the camera lingers just long enough to make sure you see it. That's not just set dressing. That's intentional. It's a visual anchor, a message to the audience. She's still here. But what do you think? Is Pugsley being used? Is Weems still alive? Could Agnes be the key to something bigger? Let me know your theories down in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop for all things Wednesday. I'm Raphael CG. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.